Hi guys, this is Angel Soriano with Canine University. Today we have Dean Calderon. He's now in Ohio. It's been in the Schutzhund circle since '77, I believe. My gosh, he's been in the U.S. World teams. He's won multiple titles. It's just a pleasure for us to have him here.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
I got a bunch of questions. We're going to get through it here pretty quickly, but. What do you see, Dean, as being the most important job of an actual handler?
Okay. Really, all great training starts with great play, okay? And a handler has to really make good play drive with their dog. I rarely ever see a dog where we say, he's got too much play drive, okay? The dogs need to have more play drive. Also, too, the handlers need to, I think the good expectation is this. I want to have a healthy dog. I want to have a dog that I can enjoy, okay? And what comes after that, that's the gravy. But if I have a healthy dog, a dog who's fun to train, then I'm a happy guy, There's too many variables, there's too many circumstances that can put sour notes into it, okay? And myself, I don't like to live a life of sour notes. I like to live in the glory of the sun, okay? And I think this is important for the dog. To a dog, you are more than God to him. And if God was here right now, we would never take his eyes off him, okay? So people really got to understand what their image to the dog is, okay? That dog, also too, a dog, it's your best friend. My dog is my best friend. He's not something that I win trophies with. He's not something that makes people say, oh, wow, Dean's a really good dog trainer. No. My dog is my best friend, okay? And people need to never lose sight of that, okay? That's what it's about, is having a best friend. And my best friend is not the guy at the bar who's drunk and crazy and wants to fight. My best friend is the guy that I can go to Starbucks with, we can have a coffee, we can have a nice pleasant night out, okay? In the world of Schutzhund, our dogs must be the best canine citizen. They must be. When the public sees what we do, there's tremendous misinterpretation of what we do because of the protection phase. So consequently, we have such a responsibility to society to represent our dogs in the very best good canine citizen light, and handlers should never lose sight of that. Never.
Great. Talk to me a little bit about helpers. Like this whole weekend, we spent 3 days. Your energy level is beyond belief. If people see you work, they would not miss anything you have to do. Talk to us about the importance of an actual good helper.
First of all, the reason I'm here right now, the reason all the accolades and everything that comes to me, the championships I've won, the good dogs I've been able to have, I want to say something right now. I am nothing without the dogs I've had, okay? I've never won a championship trial. I've never even made Schutzhund 3. I've only handled dogs that have done that. But back to the helper. How I first made my name in this dog sport was from my helper skills. The Germans could recognize that I was a good helper, and that opened up so many doors to me, those helper skills. And first of all, a good helper must have good character. It's vital, okay? Because every day that we train the dogs, we make a mistake. We always make mistakes, okay? And if I train with somebody, a helper or not, and his mistakes are honest, that's fine, okay? But if you don't have good character, all right, wow, I don't know what to say. A helper must be in good physical condition. He must be. There's a saying in Germany that movement frees the dog. And you just commented today about the energy level I have. I'm 58 years old, okay? I try to keep myself in excellent physical condition, okay? Because I love help, especially working the young dogs. Nothing gets me higher in my life than working young dogs. I love tracking, I must admit. I love going out for myself. I love go tracking. But nothing gets me higher than that, okay? And I want to be able to do that as long as I can. And I just can't tell you enough, the helper must be in shape. He must have good character. And if no matter what the dog is, whether it's the loneliest dog in the world, just a weakling type animal, you as the helper must say, what am I doing wrong? Why that dog doesn't work right? You know what? An intelligent person, a compassionate person, has no issue going that way. It's the weaklings that can't go that way, okay? And a great helper has to be able to go that way. In the beginning training of the dog, the helper trains the dog, in my opinion. He's manipulating. You could see it this afternoon. You could see how I could manipulate those drive states in those dogs, okay? And so again, a great helper was worth his weight in gold. Everyone, helper, handler, everyone. There's a library, what I call a library, okay? And the library's in Germany, and it's the SV. And when you don't use your library card, not books, but I mean the people, get to know them. You know, life is networking. Everybody, I think, knows that nowadays. You must know people. And to sit so isolated into this continent, it's a fool's way. You know, I am not an American. I'm an earthling, okay? I'm a citizen of this earth, okay? And without my German friends, without my Belgian friends, I would be nothing, okay? I would be nothing. But also, too, I was proactive. I went to get it. It's not going to come here. You have to go get it. And again, a good helper must be athletic. He must have good character. He must be always, you know, I'm a student of the German Shepherd dog. I am never an expert. I'm a student. And the day that I think of myself as an expert, I'm lost. There's, you know, in what we do, it's competitive, Schutzhund. And that's what makes it the greatest dog activity in the world, for many reasons, also that. But in human endeavors, when we're competitive, we get better at it. And believe me, we're much better helpers, much better trainers than even we were 5 years ago. Every time we train a dog, every time we work a dog, we learn something new. And that openness, that willingness, the willingness to absorb must be a character trait that a good helper must have.
I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about the dual line work that I saw.
Okay.
I practiced a little bit of it in the past,
Right.
and I've seen some trainers in the past do a pretty good job.
Right.
Without a doubt, the coordination you brought this weekend to it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about your thoughts on it and the meaning of dual line work.
You know, first of all, I always tell everybody, because I want everyone to have as much fun in their life training dogs as I've had. And if the Germans didn't open up to me, I wouldn't know, okay? Who taught me the dual line work is a man named Reinhard Lindner. He was the head tracking instructor at the Zoll School, the custom dog police school in Germany. And those guys, you know, in Germany they have universal service. And he had 6 weeks to get these 19, 20-year-old, 21-year-old kids out on the border patrolling, okay? And to try to teach somebody in 6 weeks to teach a dog at that level, you can't do it. You just can't do it. So that's where I started learning the use of the second line, okay? I prefer, especially in our Schutzhund work, that I teach the handlers how to train the dogs, okay? But also, too, I cannot let the dogs suffer for the inadequacies of the handler. When we train, we always envision that at the end result, the dog will be the best we can, okay? But then their variables enter into it. Is the dog really capable of this? And more than this, is the handler really capable of this? And there comes a point where I have to say, I've tried my best with the handler, their handler can't grasp it, so here comes the double line work, okay? And because I have experience, I've trained many, many dogs for many, many years, the dog doesn't suffer from the handler's mistakes. The first 10 times you train a dog are so critical. It doesn't matter what training you're doing, that sets the emotional tone for the animal, okay? And if you make critical mistakes in the beginning, 1,000 times can never wash away the first ugly 10, you know? So again, you know, especially those of you that want to be trainers, and you want to really help people, whether it's just pet training or the level that we do in Schutzhund, watch this tape and watch some of the double line work that we're doing. You know, the best tool we have in dog training is the leash. It's the best tool we have. You know, the dog must be trained through the physical. That's the leash and the first saver, or the whatever collar. And you must learn how to use that leash quickly and effectively. Also, the dog has to be trained quickly. It can't be a struggle week after week, month after month. Can't get it through to the dog. And who can't get it through? The handler. And again, so the double line work, it just eliminates so many mistakes that the novices make. And so the dog doesn't suffer. And watch the tape, and I sure hope there's some good stuff you can pick up there.
Let's talk a little bit about the table, the protection table.
Good.
I've read an awful lot on the internet. It's
Right.
been mostly negative,
Right.
written by obviously people that don't believe it,
Right.
don't trust it.
Right.
I'm a witness to it this weekend being used properly, and
Right.
it was used in so many different scenarios. Talk a little bit about the table, please.
Okay, first of all, about the table, I can't right now say the thoughts I want to say. Okay, but there's been such abuse on that table in America. Ugly, ugly. I love my dog. I would never do some of those things to my dog. I don't have. If I got to do that to train a dog, I'm not going to train dogs no more. Okay, I can give somebody a hammer and they can build a Taj Mahal, or I can give you a hammer and you can murder people with it. The problem is not the tool; it's he who yields the tool. And because the table has been it's the same thing with the electric collar. You'll go to, you never can use the electric collar. You never can use the electric collar. It's the same thing with the table, because the abuse and also too, I think the abuse stems from people who don't really understand the drive state that well of the dog. You have helpers who have no physical ability, no physical skills. There's a saying in Germany, movement frees the dog. The prey is not the sleeve. This is the prey, my whole body, okay? And you have a helper who has no movement, yipes. The table, it's a very effective tool to teach the foundation training that we want. We don't start the dogs off on the table. They're well advanced before we go there. But to teach our pullback behavior, to teach excellent releasing in the guarding, to teach a dog where he will not strike that sleeve if he's not able to, with your personal protection dogs, like you'll see on the tape how we use the double sleeve switcheroo. I feel one of the biggest problems with personal protections is they get the dog off the sleeve and the dog is in aggression, but they don't award that aggression behavior through gripping. You understand what I'm saying? A dog wants to bite more than he wants, and this is maybe something we don't say on CNN, but they do want to grip more than they want to do anything else, okay? And if you don't, in fleeing, you get the dog off, so he barks and you flee, and sure, this builds him up. It'll build him up more to give him a grip, okay? And you'll see on the table, the tape, how we use the two sleeves to get the dog in more of aggressive mode, I want to say something too. The two sleeve work that you saw today with the personal protection dogs, we will do that with some of our Schutzhund dogs. Every dog, no. But I will say this, the Doberman that I did so well with 3 years ago, if it wasn't for those techniques, that Doberman wouldn't have been nothing. Because with Dobermans, good ones, you must tap into their aggression. And it's not just tapping into their aggression, you must teach the dog how to think when he's in aggression. Like any martial artist, if you're crazy out there in the ring, you're going to get knocked out. You see red and you can't think. And one of our goals as trainers is to teach that dog to think even though he's in aggression. Okay.
A little bit about hunting dogs. You have brought it up several times this weekend where you picked up lots of techniques from some great hunting dog trainers.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that, because it's kind of unusual from a Schutzhund perspective, but you're honest enough to bring it in.
Yeah. One thing recently in my life, the last few years, is I don't have the time to go to seminars like I used to. When I was in the late 70s and the 80s, if there was a dog training seminar, I don't care what it was, and if I could, I went to it, okay? And with bird dog trainers here in America, this is a huge activity here in America. It makes Schutzhund look like nothing. It's big time, big money, cash prizes. Whether that's right or wrong, that's reality. And because of that, money can motivate people, whether it's good or bad, it can motivate people. So it's motivated those bird dog trainers really to understand the use of the collar quite well, okay? A Labrador, a high drive bird dog Labrador, has as much drive for what they do, maybe even more than our high drive Shepherds, okay? The collar. Man, I hope on the tape you'll see one dog being worked with a collar. And this is what I learned from bird dog people. You don't see us turn it up max and then shock the dog. You'll see us at the lowest level, and we'll turn it up and we watch the dog. What does he do? I can always turn it up. But if I have it at full blast and I hit that dog and he runs out in the street and gets hit by the car, well, I'm nothing more than a fool. Okay, you know, I say this about I know we're talking about bird dogs, but the reason we're talking about bird dogs is because we're talking about the collar, okay, because this is what it's all about, is bird dog people know how to use that collar. I have a saying, you give me an electric collar and I can make a blind dog see, or I can ruin the most brilliant vision, you know. And I just want all of you to understand, in human nature, when you don't understand something, you're afraid of it. Okay, and we have to get past that. Our society now has dictated to all of us to take a snapshot, make an opinion, and then make a movie. People got to learn to sit down, shut up, and watch. And don't just watch the 5 minutes, watch the 2 hours of the movie. And maybe, guess what? You know a good book? You know how many times you might read that good book? 20 times. And every time you read it, like, yeah. And it's the same thing when you don't understand something, okay? And especially the person who's teaching you, the proofs and the points, you know what the truth of Schutzhund is? The proof's in the points. The proof is in the points. And if they have proof in their points about the use of the collar or the use of the table, there's some reality there. And all these fools that want to talk negative about that, I guarantee you 99% of them never trained Jack. I guarantee it.
Let's move into a little bit of blind work. We saw this weekend how you use some you call them old techniques, and obviously they were, but they were done very effectively, where you laid a board down as well as the wire fence in front of it. Talk a little bit about that, because that's also very important.
You know, one of the biggest problems we have in our Schutzhund work is the hold and bark. Okay, we have many dogs who don't have the type of picture, the attitude, the aggressive nature that we'd like to see in the blind, for many factors. There's many factors about that. But one of the most common factors is the dog who barks too close, okay? And if you would simply draw that dog back, you're going to get much better barking, okay? And what you're going to see on the tape is the use of a board as a focal point, a point of reference for the correction to keep the dog back. You see excellent barking as a result of that. You're also going to see how we use a wire fence to create a barrier that keeps the dog back. And this distance will cause much better barking. You know, you might think it's all cool to make this, but believe me, you're not going to have that good of barking. You get that dog back an arm's length off that sleeve, you're going to have much better barking. And think about it. If that dog's that distance, and when that guy pushes into that helper on the re-attack, coming this distance is going to give you a lot more power. What if your dog is up here and the guy's forward, you got a shit grip? You know how hard it is for a helper? Many times, I've been the helper at the USA Nationals. I want people to get good points. My job is to test those dogs, of course, but I want to work every dog the same so the judge can evaluate the dog accordingly. But when I have a dog up here who's jumping, and all of a sudden the judge says re-attack, and he's here, man, I feel so bad when the dog gets a bad grip. What did I do wrong, okay? But it wasn't my fault. It was that bad training they'd made with that dog, okay? And watch your tape and watch those techniques. And they're not complicated. This ain't, you know what? Schutzhund is not brain surgery. And I guarantee you there's at least 1,000 good brain surgeons in America. Probably even more, okay? So don't tell me that you can't do this stuff. If you have a good dog and you have faith in your technique, stay to your path, the stuff will work.
So you often talk to us this week, and especially over dinner, about some great mentors you've had that help you grow up and be who you are today. Talk a little bit about that, because that's important to all of us.
You know, one of the things that's so pathetic in America is the isolationism that's propagated and preached in our society. I'm not an American. I'm a citizen of the earth, and I pride myself in that statement. I love our country. There's no place, if you've traveled around this world, there's no place like America. There's no place with the security and the freedom that we have. In America, you can really follow your dream as much as, and you know what? The liberals aren't going to sell us out to the Muslims. The right-wingers aren't going to take away our rights if we're Mexican like me or black, okay? But this fear that's just spread all over America it creates this isolationism. And this is one of the biggest problems with our club in America, and I want this to be on the tape. This is the biggest problem with the United Schutzhund Clubs of America, the isolationism that's promoted by our leadership. There's a library, and that library is called the SV. And the SV wants to promote the German Shepherd dog, and they want the German Shepherd dog to be represented in a tremendous light worldwide. And if we don't use that library, if we stay isolated upon this continent, we're going to have what we have now, and that's the slow spiral downward of Schutzhund. My mentors, my first mentor, Reinhard Lindner, okay, head tracking instructor at the Zoll School in Germany. He opened up so many doors for me. He taught, you know, I'm famous for my tracking work. I mean, look how many times I get 100 or 99 for so many years. All that comes from Reinhard Lindner. That all comes from Reinhard Lindner. My next opening experience, I want to say something to a man named Egon Vollrath, okay? Egon was a tremendous man to me. He is really the one who set me on this path, okay? When he came to me in '82 and said, Dean, will you come to Northern California and train dogs with us, okay? Egon did so much for Schutzhund in America. He was the one who would invite Reiser and Beeler and pay for it all himself and show the guys the grandest time when they got here that it became like a deal in Germany if you got invited to South County to Egon Vollrath's club. Okay, it came like this, almost like a competition, okay? So the next guy that I met with such a tremendous influence was Helmut Coning. Not the judge that comes here, but the man that just passed away, Helmut Coning. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, Helmut Coning is the greatest Schutzhund trainer in the world. Why? Because his club, OG Affalderbach, has put more dogs in the German National Championship than any club in Germany. The proof's in the points. And these handlers weren't all a bunch of 35 to 45-year-old guys. There's anywhere from teenagers to 55-year-old women. Anywhere from killer dogs to relatively soft dogs. And more than that, you know what I hated back in the old days when and I'm not going to tell people's names, the Germans that we'd bring over. I didn't like their arrogance, and I didn't like the way they treated people in the club. If somebody comes to the club, they want to train their dog. Maybe they don't have the best dog. Maybe they didn't have the kind of dog that Egon had or I had, that we had the money to buy and get rid of it if we didn't like it, okay? They don't have that opportunity. That is their dog for life. So you better... The club is not the competitors. The strength of the SV is the local clubs. That's the strength. The strength of the SV is not the Sieger Show nor the Bundesliga. It's the local club. And if you can't support the people of the local club, you're dead. Then we have a club of 10 people. And I know I'm not speaking specifically the thing, but the Germans breed an army of good dogs. Why do they do that? Because they have an army of people they can sell those good dogs to. And out of that army and they have the support system to create that army through good training. And out of that army of good dogs comes a few generals. And those few generals are the stud dogs that drive the breed and improve the breed to the future. Helmut Coning taught me how to be a trainer of people. He taught me how to use corrections without anger. He taught me never to be sloppy, never to be satisfied with what's in front of you. Have a vision and try to get there, okay? And I want to say again, Helmut taught me how to correct dogs without being angry. Okay, let me continue. Helmut did a tremendous amount for us, tremendous. But then, back, especially in the 80s, the Elvis, the Beatles, the president, the emperor of Schutzhund was Fritz Beeler. And ever since I read about Fritz Beeler, I wanted to meet him. I mean, it was like, he's the emperor, he's Elvis, you know? And I'll never forget every year it was, 85 or 86, the first time we're at the World Championship was in Budapest. And this is also because of Egon. This is also because of Egon. We're sitting there downstairs, I don't know if it was the last day of the trial, whatever, but the Germans are sitting over the table, and there's Beeler sitting with the Germans, you know. And I look at Egon, I said, man, there's Fritz Beeler. He goes, yes, man, we got to meet Fritz Beeler. And he goes, no problem. He walks up there and he goes, hello, I am Egon. And Fritz goes, hello, Egon, I know who you are. And he goes, you tell that young man over here to come here right now. So I go over there. And man, I'm telling you, boy, from that day on, things change. Right away, Beeler turns to us, okay? And you know what? It wasn't all about Fritz. You understand? You know how many people you meet, and this is what's sickening about dogs, because when you talk to people, all they want to do is talk to you about their dog, Beeler was talking to us about our dogs. He didn't want to say nothing about his dog or the German team or whatever. He wanted to talk to us about our dogs. And right away, he started pointing out the mistakes we were making. We went outside in the parking lot. He started showing us stuff about training dogs. Then after that, the greatest opportunity, what happened after that is I trained a dog for a very wealthy guy in actually what he told me, he said, if you get my son to the national championship, I'll buy you any dog you want to buy. So I would this kid was like a flake out kind of 16-year-old kid, like he'd kind of listen to Twisted Sister on the earphones and had the pink hair going like this whole deal, So I would go to the high school, pick that kid up, and make him go train that dog. He went to the nationals and got 2 sets. His dad bought me the best dog. I said, I wanted that dog. His dad bought it for me. Okay. So the guy I bought the dog from was a guy named Horst Weissel. In the 80s, he was probably the biggest dog broker in Germany. A good guy, too. Not just a creep, a good guy. Anyway, but Horst, and he only lived maybe 15 minutes from Beeler, and him and Beeler were big buds, okay? And I knew they were hanging together, and I could see them always together. But I talked to Beeler that summer. This is that was at the World Championships. It was the springtime, the following year. So I went and got Axel from Horst, and I said, Horst, is there any way I could train with Beeler? I just want to go over there. I just want to say I walked on Fritz Beeler's training field. I just want to hang out, He goes, I'll call him, okay? And he says, Fritz says you can come over. So we go over there, and again, right away, it wasn't about Beeler. It was about me and my dog, okay? And Beeler had me get the dogs, do some work with the dog, and then he told me to put the dog away, and he said, I've seen you do help work. I saw you work those dogs at that championship in Europe. Work my dog right now. I said, I'll work him. Okay, so I worked the dog, and there's a couple of German dudes there. I worked their dogs, did the help work, and Fritz says, you're a pretty good helper. I said, thank you very much, that's really, it's tremendous. And then he looked at me and says, and now I'm going to teach you to train dogs. And I said, okay, cool, okay. And man, I paid my dues. It was hard working with Beeler in the beginning. But one of the best things about Beeler, time and time and time again, he would say to me, okay, Dean, today we're going to do healing. We're going to teach this dog to heel. And he would explain to me the physical actions he wanted me to do. And then he would say, show me. Don't get the dog, you show me how you're going to train this dog. Because he didn't want the dog to suffer from my mistakes, okay? And I learned from that. I learned so much from that, not to mention 1,000 other things from Beeler, okay? From Fritz Beeler, Fritz expanded what Helmut had already taught me about how to train people, how to be a good guy, how to understand what the trip really was. The trip is not trophies and entourages and selling dogs for money. The trip is waking up in the morning, tracking your dog, having great harmony with your dog on the track, going bicycling with your dog, working fun, beautiful obedience with your dog, having a powerful, powerful dog in correction who you can take off the field and the grandma can give him a hug, okay? I just can't say enough. I owe my life to Fritz Beeler. He was a tremendous individual. There's been many others too. Roger Scholenhurst in Belgium showed me so much about prey work. Roger is an exceptionally talented individual. Jörg Sauer in Germany, watching him, I saw about what it is to have a really stone killer and what it takes to have a stone killer. My friend Roland Seibel. I can't say enough about my friend Roland Seibel. Roland has been my friend and my mentor and my coach for 20 years. Roland, I just can't say enough about Roland. I think he is the best foundation obedience trainer in the world. And people, you can train dogs you want. I'm happy for you. I hope you make 300 points, okay? But there's some things about training dogs you're never going to change my opinion of. I think there's so much misinformation out there about training dogs in America. They're so misguided. They're so clueless. They have no idea what it's. You saw today some real hard German Shepherd dogs. You saw some of the dogs I bred. And these dogs are no joke. They're no joke in the protection instincts, and they're no joke in the prey drives either. And a lot of people in America don't even phantom. You know, so many people in America, they get on the internet and they see these German dogs and they boy, man, that would be really cool. They have no idea what it took to get there. They have no idea what it took there. But again, all those people I spoke of came from the library that is the SV. Now there's a whole new generation of trainers in Germany, 45 years or younger, that many people in America never see. And man, united we're strong. Individually we're weak. And if we would unite, where every region would have a training seminar every year, and really, USA has no national training director. What does that speak of our policy? What does that speak of the way we rip off our handlers, that we don't support them with a training program? We'll take your money for the membership, but we do nothing to support you. I guarantee you right now we could find 1,000 people who have left Schutz in the last 5 years because they went to the local club and nobody helped them, because nobody at the local club has been taught how to teach. And that's the truth. You're not born a teacher. You go to college and they teach you how to teach, okay? And we need to teach those training directors how to teach. We need to teach them how to... Schutzhund is the magnet for the dysfunctional. It's the sad state of affairs, but that's the truth. Because of the protection phase, okay? Schutzhund is not protection. Schutzhund is truly the harmony between the handler and the dog. This is obedience. This is the glue that puts the shit together. And we are so not facing our responsibility by training the training directors at the clubs. And that's why the sport doesn't grow. That's why we have just this slow, steady spiral downward, okay? The library is the SV. It's there for all of us. You know, there's a saying in Germany, he's a dog guy, you help him. This is what Helmut Coning, that's one of the first things I learned. He's a dog guy, you help him, okay? There's not enough of us. So there's a dog guy, you help him, okay? And that's another thing I learned from Helmut, is if somebody wants help, as long as the dog they don't want to kill the dog, you know what I'm saying? You help them. No, you have to find a way to help them. Maybe Beeler's not so much that way, right. But Helmut Coning was, okay? And I can't tell you, that philosophy should be stamped on the front of our magazine. He's a dog guy, help him. So.
One last question.
Sure.
So, you have a pretty strong following, and this is from, you know, talking to people. You're humble, but you have a pretty strong following. So, tell everybody what fires you up in the morning, and what is a typical Dean Calderon day.
We'll talk about training day, okay? First of all, what gets me going, I love German Shepherds, okay? And that's why I do Schutzhund, because to me, that's an obvious 1 + 1. It has to equal that 2. It has to, okay? German Shepherd dogs, the origin's West Germany. Okay, and you can have whatever breed of dog you want, whatever country comes from, that's fine, I'm happy for you. I want a Mercedes from West Germany. That's what I want, okay? What is my typical training day? Okay, I wake up maybe, let's suppose there's nobody there training, okay? Because many days, believe me, I have 5 or 6 people there training. I have very little time to train my own dogs. But let's talk about the day that makes me the happiest, okay? I'll wake up maybe 6:30. When the sun's up, I get up, okay? I get up, I go, my dogs don't live in the house with me. They live in the kennel. I go out, and also my dogs don't shit in the kennel. They don't bark like idiots in the kennel. They must learn to be quiet in the kennel. They must learn, my dog doesn't want to shit in his kennel. That's filthy. I'm not going to do that to my dog. He's my friend, okay? I go out and I get my dogs, whether it's 1 dog or 2 dogs. I like to have a family of dogs, okay? I like a daddy dog, a mama dog, and maybe a baby dog, okay? A young dog, okay? And everybody has harmony and everybody gets along. I'm the pack leader. You're not going to I didn't tell you can fight. You're going to fight. I'm the pack leader. No. I take my dogs out for a walk. They go to the bathroom. They relieve themselves. I then go and put them in my trailer in my van, and I go tracking. And myself alone, if I have 2 dogs, I can be tracking 2 or 4 hours with them. I don't just track them once, I might track them 2 or 3 times, okay? And I mean, you should go tracking with me sometimes and see the type of tracks I lay. It's not just did-da-did-da, okay? There's effort put there. Then after the tracking, when I'm done tracking, I like to take them for a little walk again, okay? Then I'll come home and make sure they have a good drink of water, and then usually I'll put them in their box and let them have a good rest to maybe about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll then go get them again, take them for their afternoon relief, you know, go to the bathroom, and then I'll start obedience training. In my obedience training, this is something I learned very much from Beeler. You work on one thing to as good as it can possibly be, and then you move onward. I'm an absolute believer that every exercise must be made secure through the use of compulsion. And what does that mean? That means corrections, okay? Because and now I'm going to speak very frankly and very directly. From the fear of the pain, you can make a dog compulsive in its behavior. And actually, when you are doing the compulsion that makes you the happiest, you feel pretty damn good. And if you see the dogs that trained with me this weekend, you see those tails wagging during obedience, you see joy after joy after joy. If I had brought Verde here, or Mark had brought Vienna, or whatever, you would see drive like you've never seen in your life. And anybody who says our dogs aren't happy when they're working obedience, you must be living a different universe than me. Because I don't know what to say, okay? But again, because of the human nature, what you fear, what you don't understand, and also the American trademark, let's take a snapshot and make a movie, is the results you have. Go on with my typical day. I could do obedience for an hour with my dog. Maybe not an hour continuously, but I'll work him 3 or 4 minutes, put him away, come back. It does get to the point, for instance, with my competition dogs, or Mark, the guy that works with me with his competition dog, people will come over to watch us train. It happens all the time. And they're like, man, I've never seen obedience. I never knew a dog could do that obedience for an hour like you guys do. You guys heel for 15 minutes. You guys do 5, 6, 10 dumbbells. You do 6 or 7 recalls. You do 6 or 7 varrows, and then you put the dog away and you bring him out and you do it again. We teach the dog work ethic. This is what I learned from Beeler. The dog learns. You know what you see with Beeler all the time? You see him at the World Championship. He's an old man now. He's 77 years old. But back in the day, you'd see him. He'd walk around the world. His dog would just be there. And the dog would just be just like a pet dog. Just standing there, said. It would go, 10 minutes, Beeler, you're on. Okay, fine. Go get his shoes. Go to get his outfit. Go to the field. Take the leash dogs. Poof! Poof! All of a sudden, it's like a light switch. It's like a light switch. Because you teach a dog work ethic, okay? So many people in America, oh, my dog is tired, my dog is this, the moon is in the right place, the grass is too short, the sun is here. No, you've never taught your dog work ethic. To go on with my day, okay? Then after protection, usually 4 o'clock, the dogs are put away for another 3 hours for resting. And in the kennel, you go to my house, you think I have no dogs. There's no barking. There's no barking, okay? Mind you, I don't have 20 dogs. But even when I had 10 dogs, there's no barking, okay? They rest. And then 7 o'clock, we start obedience and protection again. And we go on however, It was funny, when I first got married, my wife would come out to California, and I'd get them, and she goes, where are you going? I go, I'm going training. So, she wasn't such a big deal for her. And she'd, call me at 2 o'clock, where are you? I'm training dogs. She was with Dean. I said, I'm training dogs. And then, call me at 5 o'clock. Where are you? I said, I'm training dogs. He goes, Dean, I'm training dogs. Okay? 9 o'clock. What are you doing? I'm training dogs. 3 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? I'm still training dogs. And because they have to learn work ethic. And, you have to have 1,000 times of repetition of absolute correct if you have any chance of pulling it off in the trial. If you're constantly correcting the dog for mistakes before the trial, there's no way in hell he's going to be ready. He's going to fall apart on you in trial day. He must show you repetition after repetition after repetition of correctness, okay? And it only happens from again and again and again. You are not going to make a V at the National Championship if you only train on Tuesdays and Saturdays. There has to be much more than that. And then, at the end of the day, I always try to take the dogs for a nice long walk. This washes out. They have stress. You can see the concentration levels we put on our dogs, okay, where they must concentrate, they must focus on body control. This is a lot of stress for the animal, okay? So by walking with them, it helps the harmony between me and my dog. This is something I learned from Beeler many years ago, and something even as a dog whisperer here in America. He's always say, you got to go out and exercise your dog for an hour, okay? I can't, and not just, I mean, we live in cities and stuff like that. Maybe take him to the park, just let him run around. Maybe you can't go for an hour, but at least 15, 20 minutes at least, man. He needs this. He's your best friend. This will make the dog, it'll wash away his stress of the daytime for him. He'll connect back with you. He has to have this, okay? Then at the end of the day, also at the end of the day, I like to sit in my chair in my barn. I have my little place there in the barn on my deck, and I'll sit there and I'll bring Verity in and just have him lay there, and I'll pet him. After the walking, I'll pet him, and I'll just tell him, Verity, I'm very happy. Thank you for today. I really enjoyed you today. I love you. You're my dog. And you know what? I don't know if the dog needs this, but I sure do, okay? Because I make mistakes, and I got to ask for forgiveness from him, okay? From all the stupid crap I did that day to him, okay? And so I need this, okay? And then it's day after day after day. And, you know, this is the life I've led for 30 years, you know? This is the life that's taken me around the world. This is the life that's introduced me to some very unique people in this world. But you know, guys like Helmut Coning, guys like Beeler, guys like Reiser, guys like Roger Schollenhurst in Belgium, those guys live a lifestyle with the German Shepherd of harmony, okay? You know, Reiser told me a story recently. In Germany, you got to pay taxes to the church, and that was one of the issues. They still do. Part of your income goes to the church in Germany. And so, and if you don't pay your taxes, you can't be buried in the churchyard in Germany. You got to be buried somewhere else. So anyway, the preacher of his town came over and was bugging Reiser. He hadn't been to church in a while. And he goes, listen, I go to church every Sunday morning. I go tracking with my dog, okay? And that's the way I look at it, too. It is really, you know, in the world in which we live, we don't have much connection anymore with nature. You know, it's with the computer or only speaking to each other. There's no more connection with nature, you know. And that's what I loved. That's what really attracted me to Schutzhund in the beginning, too. Being outdoors, working with the dogs. You know, Schutzhund's an all-weather sport. You know, I mean, I've shown my dogs in 120 degrees. I've shown my dogs in ice storms, you know. And I love that part about it, you know. I love the harmony that I get with my dog. I love to watch the dog learn. I love to help people and watch the breakthroughs they have. You know, you know what? If you go to my house, you know what you don't see? You don't see no trophies laying around nowhere. You know, they're just, I have them here or there, or you don't see, I don't have all this trophy case and they're all, no. I have a mind full of memories, right. Okay? And I have a heart filled of people who've allowed me to help them. And that reward of me helping them, okay, is the greatest reward I have. You know, it's not my trophies, it's not that. It's when somebody comes to me at the end of the day and goes, Dean, thank you for helping me with my dog. You know, that's my big kudo, you know, and maybe that's my main drive, you know, but I like that part too.
That's great.
Yeah.
Dean, we appreciate you being out here. You're going to get another thank you from us.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of energy. All my trainers I know appreciated. They had a blast last night while we were having dinner as well. Cool. They learned quite a bit. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out to the Midwest.
Thank you. You know, I want to say one thing about Angel here. Lots of times in situations like this, I'll go somewhere, whether it's a Schutzhund club, a police department, a private training facility like this. And what the head banana wants me to do, he wants me to validate his training. Well, everybody who knows me knows that, man, Dean's going to tell you like he thinks. Whether it's right or wrong or whatever, you know, everybody always says, you don't ask him unless you want to hear it, because he's going to tell you, okay? And, you know, Angel, you were not threatened by me. You had a very open mind, okay? You gave me an opportunity to say what I wanted, because there's been many times the second day the training director don't show up at the field. The head banana don't come out no more, okay? Because again, he wants me to validate what he does. You know, there's many I'm not saying that my way is. I have that saying on my website. There's many paths to the top of the mountain. Okay, I just know my path. I've been down that tunnel. I've been to the light so many times. Or I know what I do will take me to that mountain. There's many good paths to that top of the mountain, and you must have a path you're true to, but don't be afraid to look at the other paths. There might be a rock there. You know, I can't tell you how many times that I've talked to somebody that I don't think is a good dog trainer, and all of a sudden they say to me, and it clicks something in my head. I'm like, yeah, okay, that sets something off in my head. I'll be watching training sometimes, whether it's AKC obedience, bird dog training, Schutzhund, police work, something happens. I go, yeah, that's something for me, I make an adjustment, okay? I always have this saying, great training is the art of adjustment, okay? You must have a general path, but you have to ask the dog. I ask the dog, I say, dog, how do you want me to train you? I might have my path, but he goes, Dean, I can't go down that path. My path is this way, not that way. So I have to follow his path, you know? And if you don't go to seminars and you don't learn different paths, be more open, you know? Nobody's the expert. We're all students here. We all want to improve. Just have good character, have an open heart, open your eyes, ask the dog how to train you. He'll tell you. He will tell you, okay? Don't be so locked up in Freddie's method or Henry's method or Joe's method. You got to learn how to make your own stew.